What's up, guys? So this is a video about intermittent fasting. You guys saw me put up the video on Friday about my full day of eating with intermittent fasting, and I asked you guys in the comments, would you be interested in me breaking down what intermittent fasting is? You know, just information about it, pros, cons, scientific research, how to set it up, etc., etc., etc. And over I think it was 25 people commented back, were like, yes, do this. So here it is. Here's the video. This is an extra video outside of the weekly schedule. So this is Sunday and there's not supposed to be a video, but because you guys wanted one and I didn't want you guys to have to wait until Wednesday or something for it, I decided I'd make this for you guys today. I hope you enjoy it. So basically with intermittent fasting, what you're doing is you're fasting for a period of the day and then you're eating for a period of the day. Very simple. Super simple. Now the way you set it up is completely dependent on you. The traditional is 8 hours of eating and then 16 hours of fasting. So that could be, you know, you could eat from mid-afternoon until you go to bed and then not eat all the way until next day at mid-afternoon. That's one of the ways you can do it. You can also do it in a bunch of different ways. There are people that do 1 day of eating, 1 day off of eating. Don't do that one. That's just one of the ones you can do. There's the warrior diet version of it, which is you don't eat all day and then you get all of your calories in one meal. It's not even hour periods, just one meal. That one you could do if you wanted to. Still wouldn't really suggest doing that one either. It's a lot of food in one, especially if you're eating like me. Then that's 2,600 calories at once. And then there's the ones that I like a little bit more. And the one that I personally like to follow is somewhere around a 4-ish, maybe a 3-4 hour eating period, and then a fasting period for the rest of the day. My setup is I start eating at 7 o'clock and I go to bed around 11:30. So that's about 4 hours, 4.5 hours of eating. And then I go to bed, I wake up. Right now I'm in a fasted period. It's about 12:30 right now. And I'm going to continue fasting all the way until 7:30 tonight. Now, I am going to work out, and that means that I will be lifting fasted. Now, the thing that I always say about supplements and about amino acids and stuff like that, a lot of people will say, should I use amino acids when I'm bulking or when I'm cutting or just in general, whatever. And I don't think that you should use amino acids if you're bulking just because you already have that amino acid profile in you just from getting so many proteins and extra calories and stuff. But I have always said that when you're in an extreme cut or when you're cutting and you want to do this, then I think you should supplement with branched chain amino acids. At least I personally supplement with aminos. I've done this literally every single one of my cuts since I started lifting about 8 years ago. And personally, I just feel better if when I have a less amount of calories, if I have branched chain amino acids while I'm working out or while I'm doing cardio, because then I feel like I have something inside of me and my body can try and use those branched chain amino acids from my blood instead of breaking down proteins from my muscles to try and get those amino acids while doing exercise or performing work. So what I'll do is right now I'm taking these isotory amino amps. So if you guys have ever heard of this, if you haven't maybe, this is the amino product by Isotory, and I mean, they are all generally pretty equal in the fact that they're all going to be amino acids with the same profiles of, leucine, isoleucine, valine, and then the rest of them. But this one personally is super tasty. This is the best amino flavor I've ever had. I was actually using this just because the flavor was so good earlier, in my bulk. But now that I'm cutting, I'm stoked that I have these because personally, I feel better if I go into a workout, especially when I'm doing this fasted and eating period thing. When I go into a workout fasted, because that's how I do now, I will drink this with I'll take a half scoop with my pre-workout, and then I'll put a scoop in a water bottle and drink that throughout my workout, and it just feels like there's something inside of me, whether that's true or not. Now, that ramble is over about aminos. Let's move on. You guys understand now the fact that it doesn't really matter how many hours you want to do your eating period versus how many hours you want to do your fast. It's just the idea that you're getting all your calories in at once, and then you're not eating at all until the next day. Now when I say not eating at all, I should put an asterisk there because there are little snacks and things that I personally will do. Now you want to keep yourself as minimal in calorie consumption as possible, but like I was saying, with the whole fasted workout thing, it is a little bit odd to me to go into a workout without any calories at all. Now, there is not very good research on whether or not fasted training is bad for you or good for you in terms of losing a little bit of muscle or if you're able to retain that muscle. just generally fasting for 72 hours without any exercise, you actually will not lose that much muscle. You won't lose an absorbent and accentuated amount of muscle. You'll lose the same amount of muscle that you would just from doing your day-to-day activities and eating less calories if you were eating every single one of those days. After 72 hours, your body starts massively breaking down those muscles. But even with that knowledge in mind, I just feel a little bit more comfortable, and it's a little bit of a placebo, it's a little bit of a mind thing. When I have a little bit of calories in me before I go work out, and I have just anything inside of my stomach, I feel like the workout's a lot better. So what I will do, I'm sorry if this video is a little bit like all over the place, but there's information in here. It's good information. You just gotta piece it together and watch the whole video. What I like to do is I like to do my fasted period, then I train, and then I eat, right? So then I wake up the next morning and I'll take you through it. Like I wake up at like 8 or something like that. I won't eat until like 12:31. And if I'm gonna work out at like 2 o'clock, I'll have a banana or an apple. So it's just like a very, very small little bit of like, I think it's like 60 to 80 calories just to feel a little bit better about my life and the way that I'm going to approach my workout. And I feel like you can get some more glycogen moving, glucose happening. May or may not be true, who knows? But I like to do that personally. And it will not ruin your fat loss or your fasting. It's going to be okay. So I do like an apple before, and then afterwards I will sometimes have an apple or banana depending on if I'm like really starving and really starting to like, you know, get hungry and whatnot. But after you kind of adjust to intermittent fasting, you'll see that you aren't as hungry throughout the days because your appetite hormones are starting to acclimate to what you're doing, the timing of your food. So actually, during the fasting periods, you'll get less hungry. And because this is my first week, I'm still eating those little snacks before and sometimes after my workout. But then eventually, after 2, 3, 4 weeks, I'll probably end up not eating anything during my fasting periods. I guess that's kind of a debate for me, but anyways, what I was saying is I have the apple before, sometimes an apple after if I'm super hungry. If not that second apple, then I will have between 4 to 8 ounces of chicken breast. That is it. So that way I have a little bit of protein, because I feel like after a hard, vigorous exercise training session, like seriously crazy hard, I don't want to just not have protein for the next 4 hours, because that's usually how long it takes until I get to the end of my fasting period. So I'll have that little bit, maybe 100 to 200 calories of chicken breast, that 50 to 80 calories from an apple or banana, and so basically I'll be sitting at about 150 to 250 calories during my fasted period, and then I'll have the rest of my calories to eat during my eating period, which is going to be somewhere around 400 calories. It's a lot of food to eat. So now you guys understand, I'm pretty sure you guys understand the idea of how to set it up. You're going to eat the same types of food. You're going to eat the exact same food that you would on any diet that you're normally doing. So if you're trying to do a cut, you're just having restrictive calorie consumption. So if your maintenance is 2,500, you're going to eat 2,200. It's the same thing. You're eating those 2,200 calories throughout the day on a regular diet. And instead of that, you're eating those same 2,200 calories, the same exact composition of food, but all crammed into this small period of time. Now the massive pro for this benefit for me personally with IF is that I'm a snacker, and I've become more of a snacker as I've moved on in life. And because I edit so much and I'm always at the computer and I'm doing things so much, I've grown this affinity towards snacking. So I like to snack, and if I'm able to eat throughout the entire day and I'm trying to get a caloric restriction, I'm trying to eat less than my maintenance, it's very difficult because I'll wake up, I'll have a meal, then I'll have a snack, then I'll have a meal, then I'll have a snack while I'm editing, meal, snack, meal, and then it's like, damn, these meals are really small because there's so many snacks and I'm still hungry and I could keep eating, but I'm supposed to stop right now and I still have 3 hours till bed. Like, it's terrible. It always screws me up being able to snack on my cuts. But when you do IF, you deal with your hunger in the beginning of the day. So like right now, I'm pretty hungry. I'm like a little bit off right now. I wish I could eat something, but I'm not really that worried about it. I'm gonna kind of suffer through it or whatever, if you want to call it suffering. I'm just gonna like deal with the hunger. And then when I get to tonight, I haven't snacked all day today, so I haven't messed up at all. And then we have 2,400 calories. So I'm gonna have one giant meal followed by another giant meal followed by a medium meal and a snack and a snack. Like, after that, after eating all those meals and it's getting close to my bedtime, I have so much food in me. I'm starting to feel like a little bit, not bloated, but like I'm feeling full, you know? And I mean, I could eat another 6 billion calories. I could probably eat like 10,000 calories after my cut calories, but it keeps me from snacking. So that's a massive benefit for me, and I feel like that's a massive benefit for most people, is that it keeps you from snacking because you get to eat all these calories at once, and then after you eat all those calories, it's very hard to continue eating more calories because you just had 2,400 calories come down your mouth. Other benefits that come from this that are a little bit more scientific and not so just, you know, anecdotal in the fact that I'm bad at snacking, it's unfortunate IF doesn't have a ton of research done yet. There's research done on athletes who have gone through Ramadan, which is, you know, sort of a religious fasting, who are, you know, those people are athletes, so that's relevant. And then there's a lot of research on fasting, but intermittent fasting is a little bit different than just pure fasting for like a day or 2 or 3 or a week or whatever it is. But with the research studies that I have found, I do have some things that I picked up are benefits. And one of the things that I think is really cool, it's a really good idea, is that when you're eating all throughout the day, every single day, food is continuously going through your mouth and your stomach and then into your intestines, right? So your intestines are so long. They have food going through it and through it and through it and through it. And the food it's inflaming the intestines. You know, your intestines are having to work to you know, digest that food and add enzymes and everything and break it down. And there's something called leaky gut syndrome, I believe it was, and this is something that people used to comment on my acne videos all the time, and they'd say that you're eating so many calories that you have small microscopic little holes in your intestines, and the food is actually able to, like, some of it is able to travel out and into your bloodstream, and then that kind of toxifies your blood. But the idea with not eating like 24 hours or 16 hours of the day, you know, throughout the normal day period, is that your body is able to, for however long your fasting period is, to say it's 12-hour fasting or 16-hour fasting period, that whole period of time, your intestines have no food in them, nothing traveling through them. So they're able to repair, essentially, because they don't have anything else to do. They are basically in a recovery mode. And then for that 2, 3, 4, 5-hour period where you are eating, it'll process that, it'll get whatever inflammation and damage it takes from digesting all that food, and then again, it gets to rest and recover. Essentially, it's like allowing your intestines to sleep, you know? And then you wake them up, you throw all this food in them, and then you're like, all right, guys, go back to bed. And then they're able to recover some more. I feel like that is a huge, huge benefit. And personally, for my own problems with my acne and stuff like that, I feel like that's going to help me out quite a bit. Also in research, there's been studies that have shown that cells have been found to upregulate the expression of the genes of the cell simply because you're causing this large fasting period and then this large eating period. Your cells are being they're essentially going through the same type of stress that they would be going through with exercise, you know, except now it's with this diet, because for such a long period of time they have no food, and then for a short period of time they have all this food. So your cells essentially have to become stronger. So you can end up, can end up, not always going to end up with stronger cells, just because they have to become more resistant to stress. Another health benefit of intermittent fasting is that it decreases the accumulation of oxidative radicals. So it reduces the amount of stress that comes from eating continuously and having essentially breakdown happen of your cells and whatnot, because these radicals are bouncing around inside of you. So this can help decrease the amount of radicals bouncing around inside of you, you know, degenerating your DNA tips and stuff like that. So there's some of the health benefits that are actually observed through scientific research and studies. There's some studies that are done on rats and some studies that are done on primates, as well as a few human studies. There's, I think, like 4, 5, 6 studies done on humans and then lots done on animals. And they all show positive things happening from IF. Whether or not it's all consistent with each and every individual, each study showed its own and some similar benefits that come from doing IF. Personally, I feel like it's not really so much about that as much for me as it is about making sure that I hit my calories the right way every single day, because otherwise I would be snacking. Now, something I want to point out with IF, if you have any sort of blood glucose regulation that you need to do, like if you have diabetes, for example, or if you're a pregnant woman, or whatever else your reasons are, you should not do IF. Don't do it. Don't try it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Because you need to regulate your blood glucose, and your blood glucose will be very disturbed for the first couple of weeks, and it's just up and down. That's not safe to do. So don't do it if you have any sort of problems like that. Another thing I want to point out with IF is that I think you should, there are quite a few cons. There are a lot of negatives, and if you're not experienced, if you're not going into this prepared, IF could end up setting you up for failure. Because when you get really hungry, think about it, and you go to the grocery store, that's the worst time to go to the grocery store, right? Because you're going to grab everything. You grab the Pringles, you're going to grab those chocolate dipped glazed honey nuts or whatever. You're gonna grab a lot of bad stuff, right? Because you're hungry and you're just like, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. Same thing with IF. By the end of your starvation period, if you're eating at the end of the day instead of the beginning of the day, by the end of your fasting period, you're hungry. You're really hungry, right? That first thing you eat, you can't eat slow. You're like, oh damn, I should really chew slowly on this steak, and then all of a sudden you're like, where'd my steak go? What happened? Problem is with a lot of people though, is that they'll start their fasting period and they'll just binge. They'll just eat really crappy stuff. I feel like if you're going to do IF, you should have a very good idea of what you're going to eat for your eating period. Because trying to get 2,600 calories in without a plan, you're going to end up eating one solid meal in the beginning. You're going to have like your chicken and potatoes and vegetables and be like, yeah, that was a good meal. And then you're going to be like, oh man, I have 1,600 calories to play with. Like Pop-Tarts are 200 calories each. Oh, cool, man, I could have 2 of those, still have 1,200 calories left. What else should I have? I guess I'll have a whole bag of chips. It's only like 400 calories. All right, cool, now I still have 800. And you end up just like spending your macro money on crap. You want to make sure that your macros are still good. You're still getting your proteins, your fats, and carbs in the right ratios, and you're still eating the foods that you want to be eating, you're planning on eating. So I suggest planning, or at least knowing an idea of big meals and foods that you're going to eat towards the end of your night when you start eating. You could also, by the way, sorry I said at the end of the night, that's just how I set up my intermittent fasting. You can intermittent fast however you want. You can eat in the beginning of the day and then fast until you go to bed and then wake up and eat, or you can do a eating period in the middle of the day and fast in the morning and night, whatever. I just like to do it at night because I like to eat and then go to bed. I cannot go to bed hungry. It's impossible. I will stare at the wall until I eat a protein bar. So I have to eat at night. And then I can deal with waking up and being hungry. That's not a big deal. I can work when I'm hungry. Now I know this is a long video, but I really want to get this information out there. I really don't want to forget anything. So as I'm coming up with new ideas, I'm just going to keep dropping them into the video here. The foods that you eat on intermittent fast are the same as before, like I was saying earlier. Now a lot of you might be wondering, what should those foods be in the first place? So I'll give you a quick rundown. What I like to eat usually is a 50-30-20. 50-30-20? 50, yeah. I'd say maybe more like 45, 30, 25, something like that. But what I'm saying is carbs, protein, fats. So that's 45% carbs, 30% protein, and then 25% fats. I personally really like this this formulation of macros. And for me personally, it works really well because I need a lot of carbs. I'm a very carb sensitive person, and to grow and to be strong I need carbs. But you can manipulate that macro ratio breakdown any way you want. So if you say, all right, there's my macro ratios, I'm going to follow Brian's Humorous Fitnesses, and then you go look up, this is how you find your maintenance, guys. Punch in TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, total daily energy expenditure calculator. Then you're gonna punch in your stats, your age, your height, your favorite color of your favorite dog, all that stuff. You're gonna push calculate, and then it's gonna tell you your maintenance, and then you're gonna drop maybe between 200 to 400 calories below that maintenance, and that's gonna be the amount of calories you want to consume to start losing weight. So then you're gonna take that calorie amount, and then you're gonna put that into a macro calculator, right? So you're just gonna punch in macronutrient calculator or generator or something like that. Punch in, for example, 2,200 calories, and then you're just gonna choose the percentages of each macro that you want. So you're gonna say 45% carbs, 25%, 30% protein, and then 25% fats. And then you're gonna click calculate, and it's gonna tell you the numbers. Now, if the carbs are too high, or if you experiment with this and you go for a few weeks and you realize that it's not working for you, you can try bringing down the carbs and bring up the proteins and fats a little bit and kind of manipulate. You gotta experiment, guys. I cannot give you the answer because everyone is so different. So experiment and see what works for you. And then if you like that style style of dieting, maybe you can try to implement it into IF, or maybe you're experimenting with your macros with IF. So there you have it, guys. There's my explanation, my breakdown of intermittent fasting, how to set it up, what the benefits are, what it does for you. I'm not really sure if I gave you everything, all the information that I have about this. If you have any questions, if there's anything that's unclear about this video, please leave it in the comments below so I can answer you and help you be a little bit more informed about this. I try to cover everything from A to Z, A to Negligon 66, but it's hard to cover everything, right? There's a lot of information, and I'm just trying to spitball it at you guys. And do keep in mind that I am in a fasting period right now. I do want to point out also that intermittent fasting is not the end-all be-all of all diets. It's not like you're just going to do intermittent fasting and then you're just going to lose tons of weight. The idea is not necessarily that you're going to increase the amount of fat loss that you're having, but it's to increase the ease of doing this diet. You know, it makes it more convenient, especially if you're a busy person in the daytime, because you don't have to eat. You can just work, not worry about nothing, just drink a ton of water, and then you eat at night, and it makes it a lot more convenient, especially for people like me. But some people have experienced that IF is really good for them and actually does increase the amount of fat they lose per day instead of, you know, just regular full day calorie consumption. But that's up to you. You're going to have to find that out for yourself. I'm just telling you that IF is not something that you should do because you saw this video. It's up to you. I'm just informing you. I'm giving you the information. I'm telling you guys, this is what I'm doing, and I want you to understand why I'm doing this. And I want you to understand the idea of how to do it if you do want to try what I'm doing after watching what I'm doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, one last little tip that I forgot to mention: drink your water. Drink lots of water throughout the day. Drink tons of water. One, it's going to keep you from being hungry. Two, you're going to realize that your body relies a lot on water, and when you don't have your food, you can start realizing how your body runs so well on water, because that's the only thing that your body can, you know, fix essentially. Yeah, you can't fix the fact that you're hungry throughout the day, but you can definitely notice that you're thirsty, drink water, and then be like, wow, I feel a lot better. When you're normally bulking or you're not cutting, you're able to eat food and then forget about the fact that you're dehydrated. That feeling of dehydration goes away because you've now fulfilled your satiation. Maybe you've gotten a little water in from the food, but essentially you've just gotten that food in there, you feel good, your stomach is full, you're starting to get like that rush of energy, but you're still depleted in water. IF can help you realize how much you need water. So when you do IF, please don't forget to drink your water. It's very important. Also, one last thing, I'm sorry guys, these are all coming to me at the end right before I outro this. Make sure that your diet is rich in micro nutrients, that you're getting your vitamins and your minerals in, so make sure you're getting your vegetables and stuff like that. But I do also suggest, getting a multivitamin and some fish oil. I personally use this Alpha Men and this omega-3s from MyProtein. And basically this is just an awesome multivitamin with lots of micronutrients, a bit of phytonutrients as well. And then omega-3s are great because that is a fatty acid that a lot of people lack in their diet, especially when you're cutting and stuff like that. So these two things essentially serve as insurance cards for me, because I'm already gonna eat well and try to get my nutrients and my fats in, but I'm not necessarily always for sure going to do it right. And these things allow me to ease my mind a bit and just be sure that I did definitely get my micros and definitely got at least some good fats in. Those products, as well as the Isotor aminos, are available. Using the links below, it will help me out. Also, you guys can use the coupon codes that are listed right above the links, and those will give you 10 to 15% off of the entire order, which is like huge in the first place. Plus, you guys help me out. It's a win-win situation. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is like my 4th time trying to outro it. If you have any questions, like I said, please leave them. Otherwise, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Give me the comment. I love you all. Team Beyond the Week. Have a fantastic Sunday. Big J.
Live titty or die, MIRIN!